let's cross live now to the chairman of the Botswana Movement Democracy, Julius Baitumetse, now joining us here live on RT International. Julius, it's so good to get you on the program. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us here. What do you make of the accusations that put forward by the head of the U.S. Africa Command by making this public comment? What do you think Washington is actually trying to achieve, Julius?
Thank you very much. Let me accept your invitation. And straight to the point, I'm the chairman of the Botswana Movement for Democracy in Botswana in Africa. Africa has been very much silent about the interference of Western countries in its dealings, more especially in deciding who should be the leader, who should be the president, and all that. But we all know this is due to the fact that Western countries are looking at looting African resources. We have gained political freedom for years, 30 to 50 years. Now we feel it's time for Africa to gain economic freedom. So this is why we are standing with Captain Traore to say we can't allow as Africans what has been happening for years, whereby African leaders have been killed by Western leaders just because they refuse to be their puppets.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, though. I was just going to say, we all know, for example, what happened to Ghadaffi in Libya, even Sankara in Burkina Faso. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Burkina Faso, which is one of a number of countries there in the Sahel that has kicked out former colonial powers, and now they're kind of dishing out a new narrative. They're spinning a narrative, peddling and pushing that Traoré is a bad man and the country is steeped in corruption. Am I stepping in what you're smelling here? Does that sound about right to you?
Exactly. You see, the same narrative that is being used against Captain Traore is the same narrative that was used against Colonel Ghadaffi. That come on, we are well educated in Africa. We know if a leader is corrupt, if a leader is infringing on our democratic rights, we can speak for ourselves. So we don't need America, France, Britain, Western countries to come and meddle in our affairs as if we are children, as if we are toddlers. We can speak on behalf of our children, on behalf of our communities as political parties in Africa. So it's wrong for these Western countries to keep peddling the same narrative that was used against our previous leaders who they killed for their personal interests, to loot African resources. Colonel Ghadaffi comes to mind immediately. When he was killed, people who killed Colonel Ghadaffi are still walking the streets. They're still considered as, in their home countries, Western countries, as whatever, heroes or whatever. But in Africa, we know what Colonel Ghadaffi was trying to do. He was a Pan-Africanist who wanted to see Africa dominating as it's supposed to be. Because we have had leaders who sold us to Western countries. Now, the current crop of leaders in Africa are saying enough is enough. And Captain Traore is leading from the front line. And we are coming behind him to support him. No matter if we have something or we don't have anything, we are supporting him. That is why, as the Botswana Movement for Democracy, we wrote a letter in support of Captain Traore and the people of Burkina Faso and say to the whole of Africa, it's time to stand up. It's time to fight for our resources. It's time to fight for our minerals.
Yeah, this is exactly what's going on with the Global South these days, Julius. The Global South is really raising its voice on the global stage. You might have heard of the Russian foreign minister at the BRICS meeting 24 hours ago in Rio, and he was saying that Africa needs proper, permanent representation at the United Nations Security Council. The voices must be heard in a balanced manner. Meantime, when it comes about Western narratives going after Africa, I remember a story about a year ago, Julius. There was a story that Uganda suddenly discovered what was called the biggest gold deposit in the world. And within weeks, you heard Washington saying, you guys are anti-LGBTQ, you guys are this, you guys are that, we're going to have to bring you democracy. It's all about the mineral resources, but the political and media landscape, they sell, they peddle, and they push these narratives. Do you think solidarity, Julius, among African nations can help to counteract these perceived threats from Western nations regarding governance and regarding resource management? You guys, do you think you're tough enough to join hands and kind of push back?
Look, it's long overdue for African countries to stand together, to support one another I mean, European countries support one another. Even if they are peddling a wrong narrative, Western countries, they always support one another. Why can't African countries support one another? We can only stand tall if we support one another. And talking about the Russian foreign minister, you see, from very long time back, 60s and all that, we have always seen Russia helping Africa as a brother, not with the intention to loot out of Africa. I'm not saying Russia is perfect. We all have mistakes, but from a long time back, Russia has always stood with Africa for political freedom. And so for someone like the Russian foreign minister to be speaking on our behalf, we very much welcome it. But I want to emphasize to our African brothers, it's time we stand together. It's time we see each other as brothers and work together. Trade amongst African countries must be improved and emphasized. More than, I mean, why should we take our oil, our minerals to Europe to be refined and come back to Africa at a very expensive price? Yeah. Our brothers and sisters are dying trying to cross through the Mediterranean, going to Europe, because they're looking for jobs there. And the minerals are coming from Africa to create industries in Europe and in America. Why can't we create industries in Africa to make jobs, to create jobs for our people?
It's also about trying to shake off the old shackles of old former colonial ghosts as well. And you guys are really trying to stand up on your own 2 feet and got nothing but respect for you. Julius Abaitumetse is chairman of Botswana Movement Democracy, joining us live here on RT. It's been a great conversation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We need people like you, because we have been, the Western media has been peddling lies about Africa. It's time we get people who can give Africans a voice to say